Yo, man. Whiskey YouTube, man. It's your boy, Mickal, aka Mr. Nappy Hair Woman. In today's video, man, we got how good was Dwyane Wade actually. If you're new, man, hit that like button, subscribe, and share. Run the road to 500 subscribers. Let's go and get to the video.
A Finals MVP, and a 13-time All-Star. What made him special? Where does he rank among the all-time best? And how good was Wade actually?
Damn.
Road to the NBA. Some of the best and toughest NBA players ever came from Southside Chicago, where murder and violence are an everyday occurrence. But of all of them, D-Wade had the toughest road to the NBA. Growing up in one of the most violent and dangerous parts of the world, even his home wasn't safe. Dwyane's mother was a heroin addict and rarely spent time with her son. When she was at home, she was hanging out with drug dealers. Young Dwyane was traumatized when police broke into their house and arrested his mom. Then one day, his older sister made a move that probably saved Dwyane's life. She told him they were going to the movies, but she actually took him to their father, who lived with his new family in the Chicago suburbs. There, the small-statured Dwyane started playing basketball with his stepbrothers. He was usually the smallest player on every court, but Wade was always the fastest. When he eventually sprouted to 6'4" in shoes, with a freakishly long 6'11" wingspan, and explosive rocket fuel in his bounce, he became a nightmare for the opposing guards. Athletic and super quick, Wade averaged 27 points and 11 rebounds as a high school senior, earning himself a scholarship from Marquette University.
27 points and 11 boards in high school. That's good.
As a sophomore, Wade led Marquette in scoring and was the best ball thief in the entire conference. However, his best was yet to come. In his junior season, Wade averaged 21.5 points and played stellar defense, leading Marquette to success they haven't reached in 25 years. In the Elite Eight, Marquette was a heavy underdog against the title favorite Kentucky, who won consecutive 26 games. But they didn't have Wade, whose drives to the basket were unstoppable. He dominated with 29 points, 11 rebounds, 11 assists, and 4 blocked shots in the biggest.
That many points, assists, and rebounds? Boy, the triple-double.
Upset of the season, D-Wade became a national sensation overnight.
Like,
but when Marquette lost by 40 in the Final Four,
right,
some NBA scouts feared that his game against Kentucky was a fluke. But the old Fox Pat Riley knew better, and in the famous 2003 NBA draft, the Miami Heat selected Wade with the 5th overall pick. Immediate superstardom. Even though he was shorter than most players at his position and wasn't a good outside shooter, Wade quickly established himself as one of the best shooting guards in the NBA. Wade was strong, quick, and athletic. With a killer first step and superb handles, he could keep the ball on a string, dance around opposing defenders, and drive to the basket whenever he wanted. He averaged 16 points, 4 rebounds, and 4.5 assists, and finished 3rd in the Rookie of the Year voting, behind LeBron and Carmelo. Wade helped the Heat make the playoffs for the first time in 3 years, where he gave a taste of the clutch killer he was. In his playoff debut against the Hornets, D-Wade beautifully crossed over Baron Davis and made a tough floater for the win. And even though the Heat lost in the second round, Wade averaged over 20 points in the playoffs as a rookie, and one big free agent saw that something good was cooking in Miami. After a messy divorce with Kobe Bryant, Shaquille O'Neal left the Lakers and joined the Miami Heat to compete alongside Dwyane Wade. In his sophomore year, Wade averaged 24 points.
The thing is, I feel like Shaq and Kobe could have won more rings, and Shaq just would have been in shape if he would have took it seriously. Now, if you try to tell him, he said he regret. I think he said something about like, if he would have worked, he know that they would have won more rings. But I mean, he did win a ring with Wade, though.
And 7 assists in the regular season. Despite Shaq's arrival, D-Wade was the best player on the Heat and was named to his first All-Star team. Due to his otherworldly quickness and fast-twitch athleticism, Shaq gave him the nickname Flash. With Shaq in the middle and D-Wade's unstoppable drives to the basket, the Heat won 59 games in the season to secure the #1 seed. In the conference finals against Detroit, Wade played spectacularly, averaging 27 points per game and leading the Heat to a 3-2 advantage in the series. Unfortunately, he got injured and missed Game 6. He returned for Game 7, but he clearly wasn't at 100%, and the Pistons won the series. Come 2006, Wade improved his numbers in every category, averaging 27 points, 6 boards, 7 assists, and 2 steals per game. In the conference finals, Miami avenged the loss to the Pistons. Wade played the best basketball of his career, leading all scorers with 26 points per game, shooting an unbelievable 62% from the field in the series. However, in the finals against the Mavs, things couldn't look worse for the Heat. They lost the first 2 games and trailed by 13 with 6 minutes to go in Game 3. And even though he was the youngest player on the Heat, Dwyane said to his teammates, "I ain't going down like this." Wade then went on a scoring tear, scoring 12 of the final 20 Miami points, forcing a miraculous turnaround. The Heat won in overtime, and D-Wade finished with 42 points and 13 rebounds. Game 4 was a blowout, and Wade led Miami to victory with 36 points. In Game 5, Miami was trailing by 2 with 10 seconds to go. Wade took things into his own hands and made the clutch basket to send the game to overtime. In OT, the Mavs led in the final seconds, and it again seemed like the Heat would lose. But then, Wade somehow split 3 defenders and made a drive to the basket until he got fouled. He calmly hit both free throws with 2 seconds remaining to give the Heat a 1-point lead and the victory. In Game 6, the Flash was cooking again. He was nailing jumpers, blocking shots, and doing whatever it took to win. The Heat ultimately prevailed and won the championship, with Wade as the Finals MVP. He averaged 34.7 points, 8 rebounds, 4 assists, and nearly 3 steals per game. It was complete domination on both ends of the floor, in one of the slowest-paced finals ever, and his 34.7 points per game are even greater if you know that the Heat averaged just 92 points in the series. At the time, Wade's 33.8 player efficiency rating was the best ever mark.
For the hell in 06, D-Wade won it, and then like 5 years later, or 6, 2011, what's the name? Dirk got his revenge back by winning the ring, even though the Heat should have won that in 2011, but LeBron felt that that finals was the worst series of his career, to be honest.
Mark in the finals. Injuries and poor rosters. Just one season after they won the title, Miami Heat fell apart. Wade suffered through knee and shoulder injuries. The veteran core around him deteriorated, and the Heat got swept in the first round of the playoffs. The 2008 season was even worse. Shaq was constantly fighting with Pat Riley until he got traded mid-season. Wade missed 30 games because of persistent knee problems, and Miami finished with the worst record in the NBA. After the season, Wade joined Team USA for the 2008 Olympic Games. Despite sharing the floor with Kobe, LeBron, Chris Paul, Carmelo, and many other superstars, it was Wade who led the Redeem team in scoring, bringing home the Olympic gold. For the 2009 season, Wade was fully healthy, and he showed everybody why healthy Dwyane Wade is one of the most dangerous basketball players on the planet. Nobody could stop him in transition, and his drives to the basket were a mix of speed and power we have never seen in a player at his size. Just ask poor Anderson Varejao, who suffered the wrath of Wade in one of the worst posterizations in NBA history. Even his jumper was falling at the best rate of his career, and D-Wade finished the season as the top scorer in the NBA with 30.2 points per game. He also had 7.5 assists, 1.3 blocks, and 2.2 steals, and should have been named the MVP if only the Heat had a better roster. The next season, Wade continued to dominate and was named the All-Star Game MVP. However, the Heat were still mediocre, and they lost in the first round again. The decision: Pat Riley threw his championship rings on the negotiating table in front of LeBron and Chris Bosh.
Hey, that team right there, that team should have won at least 4 rings. They should have won in 2011, 2013, 2012, 2013, they won. 2014, they should have won. It should have been like quadruple back-to-back champion.
But they ultimately decided to join the Heat because they were good friends with Dwyane Wade. When LeBron declared that he was going to take his talents to South Beach, Miami Heat became the #1 title contender, the biggest NBA villains, and the only topic of any sports media. However, the Heat had a rough start with a 9-8 record and the infamous LeBron James shoulder bump to a young coach, Eric Spoelstra. But as the season progressed, Miami improved. LeBron and Wade averaged over 25 points per game, and their full-court lob passes and dunks were must-see TV. It seemed like everything was going according to plan, and that the Heat would win not 1, not 2, not 3 championships, as LeBron famously proclaimed. But Dirk Nowitzki and the Mavs had other plans. Even though the Heat led 2-1 in the series and had a big lead in the fourth quarter of Game 4, Nowitzki played spectacularly and stole Game 4. Mother effer, do something. Don't just stand there. Wade unapologetically said to James during a timeout late in Game 5. But LeBron was extremely passive. He couldn't buy a jump shot, and the Heat lost the finals. Wade did his part, averaging a series-leading 26.5 points per game on phenomenal 55% shooting, along with 7.5 rebounds, 5 assists, nearly 2 blocks and steals per game. Before the next season, Wade had a meeting with LeBron and told him that the Heat should be LeBron's team and that he should be the #1 option, even though he was already a champion and the Finals MVP. And even though he outplayed LeBron in the 2011 Finals, Wade was humble enough to give the keys to the team to LeBron. And it was a smart move. LeBron improved significantly after the Finals loss, and the Heat completely transformed their defensive and offensive strategy, playing LeBron as a point forward with 4 shooters around. However, the Heat's title chances looked bleak after Chris Bosh got injured in the conference semifinals, losing 2-1 in the series, and with Wade having his knee drained. But like a true champion, Wade bounced back and played through injury. He scored 30 points in Game 4 and was even better in the clinching Game 6, going for 41 points and 10 rebounds.
To be honest, I think Bron left in 2014 because he knew that Wade and Bosh were like injured. The injury was going to catch up. I think that's why he left. I feel like he would have stayed, but I don't know. I don't really know.
In the conference finals, the Heat were again staring at the abyss of another playoff loss, going down 3-2 to the Celtics. But then LeBron played the best game of his career and forced a Game 7, after which Miami clinched a spot in another NBA Finals. Against the young OKC team in the finals, Miami's experience prevailed. Wade was the perfect Robin to LeBron's Batman, averaging 23 points, 5 rebounds, and 6 assists in a 4-1 series win. Next year, the Heat reached their full potential, adding Ray Allen and Rashard Lewis to stretch the floor and moving Chris Bosh to the center position permanently. Miami won a franchise record 66 games, including 27 games in a row. Even though the Pacers gave them a lot of trouble in the conference finals, Miami won the series in 7 and made a 3rd consecutive trip to the NBA Finals. But despite being favorites, the Heat were once again on the brink of elimination. They were losing 3-2 in the series and were trailing by double digits in the 4th quarter of Game 6. The NBA staff had already started preparing for the Spurs celebration, but LeBron brought the Heat within distance, and Ray Allen's 3 in the final
crazy. If they brought out the celebration, nah, it's crazy.
Seconds tied the game in what was arguably the biggest shot in NBA history. The Heat prevailed in overtime and won Game 6, and then did the same in Game 7. Even though he had clearly lost half a step, and we could see a decline in his athleticism, Wade still averaged 20 points, 5 rebounds, and 5 assists in the finals. However, in 2014, despite losing just 3 playoff games on the way to the finals, the Spurs were just too good, and they defeated the Heat in 5 and won the NBA title. Even though LeBron played the best and most efficient ball of his career, Wade struggled mightily, averaging just 15 points in the finals. Final years. After the loss in the 2014 finals, LeBron decided to ditch the aging Wade and go home to Cleveland. Without James in the lineup, Wade was still good enough to make the All-Star team, but he and Bosh weren't healthy enough to make a significant push in the playoffs. In 2016, Wade was a free agent, and he stopped talking to Heat president Pat Riley over a contract dispute. Wade bolted for Chicago to play for his hometown Bulls, where he averaged 18 points per game at the age of 35. Next season, he joined LeBron in Cleveland, but the Cavs had horrible chemistry and defensive issues throughout the season. In a mid-season trade that saw half of the Cavs roster traded away, Wade was given the opportunity to return home. He played the last season and a half in Miami and finished his career in front of his fans in Wade County. Legacy. There are only 2 shooting guards in NBA history who had better careers than D-Wade, and they are named Kobe and Mickal. Wade shares a lot of similarities with Bryant and Jordan, namely his clutch gene and desire to win at all costs, no matter if he's healthy or hurt. Wade was a pit bull defensively, and he was excellent on the ball and as a help side defender. Dwyane is the best shot blocker in NBA history for players listed at 6'4" or lower, and amongst guards, only Jordan has more career blocks than Wade. Offensively, there was probably no one in NBA history who was better at splitting the pick and roll than him. Kobe even said that Wade was the hardest player he ever had to guard in the screen and roll because he would just explode and disappear, true to his nickname, Flash. Wade's other unique superpower was baiting opponents into fouls with his pump fakes. Even though he wasn't a good three-point shooter, Wade was deadly in the mid-range. When he faked a shot, it looked almost exactly the same as when he actually did shoot. And there wasn't anybody in the NBA who wasn't fooled by Wade's trickery. We'll remember him for his killer mentality, game winners, countless drives to the basket, and silky smooth acrobatic finishes at the rim. If the doctors didn't surgically remove his meniscus during his college career, Wade's knees would have probably lasted a few years more. But despite having a shorter prime than LeBron, Kobe, or Jordan, when he was at his best, Dwyane Wade was just as good as any of them.
So I'm saying if his injuries, if he didn't get injured that much, bro, he would probably still be playing. I don't know about now, but you know what I'm saying? But hey, man, so that was video. How good was Dwyane Wade? Actually, He was actually good though. He was good. He was good, man. Anyways, man, like, subscribe, and share, man. Do all that.